Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7 o'clock on Monday, 3/22/21, and I would like to call to order the council meeting for Garfield Heights. Barb, would you take a roll call, please?
Kathy?
Unmute, Mike. There we go.
Here.
Donahue?
Here.
Donahue?
Donahue is here.
Blake?
Here.
Peverini?
Here.
Vaughn?
Vaughn is here.
Thank you, Barb. Councilman Shayla Davis is not present tonight. Could I get a motion to excuse her from the meeting, please?
I make the motion to excuse Councilwoman Davis from the meeting tonight.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, on the
Donahue.
motion by Mr. Councilman Dudley and seconded by Councilman Donahue. Barb, take a roll call, please.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Peverini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn, yes.
That passes 6 votes with 1 being absent. Okay, we will move on to our tonight's business. The reading and disposal of the minutes from the council meeting for, let me get them over here. Hold on. There we go. I had them in front of me. For Monday, March 8th, 2021. As written, I'd like to make a motion to consider the minutes as written. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Chuck Donahue.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue. On the motion made by Council President Mike Donatovich and seconded by
Listen to you.
Chuck Donahue, take a vote. Take a vote. Barb?
I was waiting for the noise. Nanadovich?
Donatovich votes yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Peverini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
That passes 6-0 on the council minutes. We will move on to written communications to council. Barb, are there any written communications to council?
No, Mr. Chairman.
There are none. Barb, there are none.
No, sir. There was one, but during caucus we said it
Settled
would
it?
not be read.
There
Okay.
was, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Blake.
there was one received Friday to council.
Who has a copy of that? I have them in front of them right now. Barb, did you get that one?
I received one today. I received an email today,
From?
but I'm sorry, I was not sure if you wanted it read. The email I
Was it-
received is from Mrs. Melissa Leonard.
Please, go ahead.
From Mrs. Melissa Leonard of 4893 East 84th Street in Garfield Heights. Dear City Council, I would like to request that the city obtain at least 2 additional estimates before voting on ordinance number 27, 2021. In addition, I would like to request, that council review sections of the charter regarding boards and commissions, including section 44, section 45, section 46, section 47, and section 48. As a community, we would like to see some accountability, oversight, and transparency regarding these sections of the charter, including but not limited to the following. Point 1, The public should have easily accessible information to the current board and committee members. Point 2, board and committee meetings should be made public, and the public should be made aware of any meetings by advertisement on the city website and/or public media. Point 3, per section 49 of the charter, a member of any board or commission may be removed by the mayor for neglect of duty, incapacity, incompetency, or malfeasance in office, and so forth. According to members of council, there have been several committee members that have been inactive. These issues need to be addressed in accordance with section 49. Point 4, positions that are open to the public should be handled in a fair and equitable fashion, including a standardized process for application and interview process. Thank you for your consideration, Melissa Leonard.
Thank you, Barbara. In answer to that letter, briefly, so we can get it going here, we did address the issue of the bids in caucus. Barb Mullen gave the explanation that Ohio bids finds the cheapest, and we are by law not required to go to 2 bids when we use Ohio bids for our projects because they get us the cheapest price. The last half of that letter will be addressed by comments at the end of the meeting. It'll be addressed at the end of the meeting. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Be addressed at the end of the meeting and comments by citizens because it is not part of tonight's agenda. The first part was, and that's why we took care of it at caucus. So we will move on.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Blake.
the letter from Friday was not sent to Barb Moline. It was sent to members of council. If you'd like, I can read it.
If Barb does not have it, Mr. Blake, I would like for you to read it as long as all the council. I did get it, but it should be part of the communications. Go ahead.
It was not sent to me.
We'll be informed right now because I did get a copy of it. Go, Mr. Blake.
It says, I would like to this read at the upcoming council meeting. I just finished watching the recording from the council meeting on March 8th and was disappointed by some of the things I heard on the call. Although you all are public servants, there is a feeling I get from any meeting I have been a part of that you look out for yourselves first. When residents raise complaints, the first reaction from almost every member of council is to defend themselves and to make sure everyone knows they are doing the best they can. Rarely do we ever hear a council member admit that they were wrong. End of story. More often it feels like I hear council putting the onus back on the residents to do better. Correct me if I am wrong, but as elected officials, you are accountable to us, not the other way around. I would like to encourage each member of council to remember that their primary job is to serve the public, not to get reelected or to get elected to a new position. The public doesn't want you to hear you say how good you have done. The public wants to know that they are heard and that you are looking to act. When the council isn't busy defending themselves, they are patting each other on the back and defending only those they see fit. Case in point would be the baseless attack on Councilwoman Davis from the last meeting. A resident came on the call with a totally unsubstantiated claim of an FBI investigation, which was taken from a far from reputable news source, and went on to slander Miss Davis's name. Councilman Nanadovich seemed like he couldn't bring himself to actually put a stop to it. I will give credit to the mayor for speaking against it at the end of the call, but the silence from other members of council was sickening. There were no words said there to discourage that kind of talk in a meeting, yet there was plenty of words left congratulating Mr. Kelly, Mr. Dudley, and Mr. Taglerini. Where did all those voices go when Miss Davis was attacked? Each council member had the opportunity to defend the slander at the end of the meeting. Instead, we hear about St. Patrick's Day and a long commercial from a mayoral candidate who mentioned everything under the sun but the slanderous attack on a fellow council member. It felt like the council was selective in who they wanted to praise and defend and who they didn't. This is the type of behavior that won't gain trust with the community. How can we be sure you have the best interests of others at heart when it seems like you can't stop thinking of yourselves? Don't tell us you are doing the best you can. Show us. Michael Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman Blake. Being as how that is not part of tonight's agenda, we will address that under comments by citizens before the end of the meeting. And if anybody wishes to speak on that, any of the council representatives or any of the directors, we will give them permission at that time to answer Mr. Peters' letter. Right now, we don't want to get into discussion because we have to get on with the business portion of the meeting, but there is a time allotment for that at the end. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Peters, for your input. We appreciate it. Okay. We've gone through the council communications. Are there any committee reports? Okay. No committee reports. Okay. Reports from the mayor and directors.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Dudley?
if I may be allowed to read a letter I have at this time.
Mr. Dudley? Yeah, we have time. It's communications. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is communications, correct?
Yes, it's communication.
Okay.
All right. Give me 1 second here. I would ask all members of council to check their emails as well. Mr. Taglarina, you might want to check your text message. I couldn't find your email. A copy of this has been forwarded to the mayor, members of council, the law department, and also the individual themselves. I received this information, and I'm going to read it here. It says, from the city of Cleveland, reference public records request of reference number C000-536-031221. And it says, Dear Publisher Kimberly Brown, the city of Cleveland has received a public record request from you on March the 12th, 2021. You requested the following. We are seeking the employment date with the city of Cleveland for Shayla Davis of Garfield Heights, Ohio. Start date of employment, end date of employment with the city of Cleveland. Davis' email is, and this is public information, sdavis6@city.cleveland.oh.us. Is Davis currently employed with the city of Cleveland? If so, what department within the city of Cleveland? Shayla Davis is currently employed with the city of Cleveland as a project coordinator in public safety. Her original start date was December the 7th, 2014. She resigned August the 18th, 2015. She was rehired September the 30th, 2019, and currently still employed in Cleveland. If you have any questions or wish to discuss this further, you can reply to this email or go to Cleveland Public Records Center and send a new message. Sincerely, City of Cleveland Public Records, Mayor Frank G. Jackson. And I want to say, I gave her an opportunity. I sent her a copy of this letter as well, emailed to her, that she may be able to reply. But I want to thank Ms. Kimberly Brown of the Brown Report. After we had several discussions, that we was able to get this email information, and she's the one who actually poured it for us. The people of Garfield Heights had deserved a response, and I hope that this can bring to the end of all the finger pointing, and we can move on with city business. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And if you want a copy of this, you feel free. I'm willing to email it to anybody who wants a copy of it. It's public information. So she is still currently an employee of the city of by serving in council in Garfield Heights. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Dudley, this is you can have this actually notarized and proven, right?
Yes, we can have it. We can have it notarized and proven, and it came from the email sent from the city of Cleveland, from the Public Records Department, and anyone can obtain this information on any public employee. You can request it personally yourself as well.
Definitely have my.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn.
Chairman, I would like to make a motion at this time that these concerns about councilperson Shayla L. Davis be moved to an emergency council meeting on Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. So that would be tomorrow evening at 6:30. Do I have a second?
I have a second.
Hold on a second,
Donahue.
please. Please hold on. Thank you for your second. I'm pretty sure we're legal in doing that. I'm pretty sure Mr. Dudley's ducks are all in a row. And on your motion, Mr. Vaughn, and on your second, Mr. Dudley, I'm going to ask Ms. Mullen to take a vote. It's the only thing I can do.
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue,
Yes.
Nanadovich votes yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Taglerini.
You're muted. Frank,
You're muted, Barb.
Frank,
We
you're
can't hear
muted.
you, Barb. Talk to the phone. Talk to the screen.
I am. I'm looking right at it. Taglerini.
There, we got you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that's a motion to have a special council meeting, emergency council meeting tomorrow at 6:30 on Zoom, I'm assuming. And it passes 6-0 with one council member not present. I wish tonight she would have been present. So, but anyway, we will get on with our business. And
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I would like to make another motion. I would
Yes,
like to make
Mr.
a
Vaughn.
motion that the talk concerning Councilman Shayla L. Davis be tabled for this evening. We must continue with the business meeting for the city of Garfield Heights. This is what we need to do, and we need to move forward. With that, I would like a second.
Chuck Donahue, second.
you're making a motion that we table all talk on the information we have just received tonight from Mr. Dudley, and voting on the second, another meeting tomorrow at 6:30. No talk tonight. Everything will be tabled till tomorrow. Barb, would you take a vote on that?
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Dudley votes yes.
Donahue,
Yes.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Jason Blake votes yes.
Taglerini.
Yes.
That passes 6-0 with one council member missing. And I am to understand that there will be no talk of that tonight at all.
Correct.
So we've got that on the books, even if it's comments by citizens, because it will be tomorrow. And that meeting tomorrow is a public meeting.
Correct.
All the citizenry is involved. There will be comments, there will be input, and we will go from there. It will not be a closed meeting. We will not go into executive session. So with that, I actually lost place where I'm at. Oh, here we go. Well, we're on the reports by the mayor and the directors. Mayor, do you have a report tonight?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Would you give it to us, please?
Yes. I'm a little shocked right now, but yes, I'm moving right along. Number one, I would like to issue my sincere sympathies for the passing of Donald J. Roman. He is the husband of Sheila Roman, one of our CERT members. And on behalf of the city of Garfield Heights, we offer our condolences to her and her family. The second thing I wanted to report tonight, and I feel bad because Miss Rose Marianowski has asked me about 3-4 weeks ago, and I missed it at the last council meeting. She sent me a message through my Facebook Instant Messenger that the Garfield Heights Historical Society is looking for any kind of memorabilia, any kind of information that they can obtain to help showcase some of the notable African-American residents of Garfield Heights. And if you have any information, you can either send it here to the Civic Center. We'll make sure that she gets it, or you can send it directly to the Garfield Heights Historical Society. And then I got a message today through Pat Salemi that the Cuyahoga County Public Library, in conjunction with FEMA, it says the FEMA staff will be available this week at Cuyahoga County Public Library branches to help county residents register for vaccine appointments at the Wolstein Center. This will be, it was today and also Wednesday, March 24th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And they'll be doing it right here at the Garfield Heights branch, 5409 Turney Road, Garfield Heights, Ohio, 44125. Phone number is 216-475-8178. And speaking of the COVID-19 vaccination, I just want to again say thank you to Pastor McHenry and his wife, Tamika, all the volunteers and the Garfield Heights Church of Christ, and all of the staff at Walgreens, and our city service workers that worked on a Saturday to help inoculate. Over 200 vaccines were administered on Saturday here at the Civic Center. I will say that I did see a lot of you council people that were there to get your vaccine as well. And I think that you can agree that this was run absolutely amazing. The way that they had it organized was incredible. I will say again, thank you to everybody involved. Thank you so much, because there's going to be a day that we're going to be able to look back at the city of Garfield Heights and say that, you know, we made history as a community. We had, I have to tell you, it was a pleasure to see School Board President Nichelle Daniels there with her abundant of love community outreach, passing out all kinds of PPE and masks and so on and so forth. It was really a community effort, and I think the entire community needs to be applauded for it and needs to be thanked for it. Channel 19 News did a brief story on it, and I felt really proud to be a Garfield Heights citizen that day, and I think we all do. And again, I say, you know, to all the seniors and everybody that was there thanking me, I just tell them, you know, all I did was cooperate and listen to the people and put it together. We definitely made history that day, and I could feel really good about that. And right now, I think we're all looking for something to feel really good about. And with that, let me get into tonight's legislation. Ordinance number 27, 2021 is to obtain or purchase 15 Motorola APX 6000 portable radios for our police department. Certainly ask your support for that, because it is a safety issue for our police. Ordinance number 28, 2021 is entering into an agreement with Kimball Recycling and Disposal, and piggybacking on the contract that we have with South Euclid. And the reason why we really need to address this, we really need to pass this piece of legislation, is because if we don't do this, our trash pickup fees will go up, and they will go up substantially. If we do it this way, the city and I have decided to absorb the $200,000 cost that it's going to go up. But if we don't approve this piece of legislation, I'm worried that we will not be able to absorb the increase in rubbish fees, and we would have to go to the taxpayers on that. And I really don't feel that that is necessary if we can avoid it by addressing it with this ordinance. Ordinance number 29, 2021 is basically entering into obtaining the ward map. I think I've talked at a couple meetings about this ward map. Basically, it's going to allow us to give to the residents a system where they can go right on the website. They can click on the ward map. They can put their address in. It's going to tell them who their council person is. It's going to tell them what ward they're in. They'll have a lot of information for the residents, but also there's different layers involved that will be helpful to the economic development director, to the chief of police, the fire chief. There's so many things that we can do with this type of ward map. And looking at some of the other communities out there, like Westlake, for instance, they do have this ward map, this GIS technology already working for them, and it works well for them. And it's no wonder that they get a lot of economic development opportunities out there because they have this type of thing in the works. Ordinance number 30, 2021 addresses Garfield Boulevard. I got a letter earlier this month stating that the Cuyahoga County Division of Public Works has approved 80% funding for this project and 60% of the design. We are currently looking at plans to possibly put a bicycle trail that would connect Garfield Park Boulevard, our Garfield Park Reservation, through Garfield Park Boulevard, all the way down to the canal towpath. Currently, there's a towpath trail that comes up through Bocce Park. It comes all the way up Warner Road, and it stops right there at Garfield Park or Garfield Boulevard. So as you're coming down, hopefully we can connect that and we can make it nice. Right now, we could probably just throw in a couple of bike lanes and through just striping it, but we're looking at different ways to maybe make it a little safer for cyclists in that area that may want to travel from one Metro Park down to the towpath. Ordinance number 31, 2021 is just entering into an agreement with OHM Advisors to provide the engineering and bidding for Antonucci Boulevard. It's something that we have to look at as far as, the guardrails and things like that. That project is just an engineering phase. Resolution 13, 2021 is just to apply for some training and equipment grant. Just training and equipment. It's a grant that we usually do every year. And I'm told that we are, basically we'll probably get it again this year. And resolution number 14, 2021 is to deal with the parking issue over on Thornton Avenue. And Mr. Blake can get into that. That is in his ward. And with that, you have my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any questions for the mayor on tonight's agenda? Mr. Dudley, the floor recognizes you.
Oh, no, Mr. Chairman, I had a comment to make in reference to this comment that he had said.
Go ahead.
All right. I just want to let you know, Mayor, that's a good thing that for as anything that can help us out with COVID in the city of Garfield Heights, no matter what it is, that can help individuals in Garfield Heights, our resident and our family members, is a great idea. We definitely got to stay on top of that. And I think Pastor McHenry and his wife, First Lady, does a great job. I wanted to, in reference to the Black History item for the Historical Society, we are working on something for them. We know the basic information, and we are pulling additional information on the first Black councilman in Garfield Heights, who was the late Montana Almond. Also, the first Black councilwoman in Garfield Heights was the late Mrs. Janet Almond. So we are pulling information on that. We're also going to actually donate one DVD for all the Black History programs we have done in Garfield Heights for the last 16 years. We will give them a copy of that as well. And we have some other things. So I think that's great that we put that stuff in there so when people go through, they can actually get a chance to see the heritage as well, because it's all about education, Mayor. It's all about education. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. President, if I may,
Please.
I left something out and I should have included it. And I'm sorry, Mr. Dudley. Mr. Dudley has put us in contact with World United PPE. This is a company out of San Francisco or Los Angeles, California, who does free COVID testing. They will do a drive-by testing. We have said that, speaking to Nathan over there, he's going to try to do it in the parking lot down there by the rec center. It's just in the infant stages. They came in and tried to test some of the city workers, but only one of them, I think 1 or 2 people got tested. It's strictly volunteer. But what they offer to the community is testing, and they do not charge for it. They're funded by, when I look at their website, they're actually funded by companies like Anheuser-Busch and Coca-Cola. So this sounds like a pretty good organization. The other thing is they are looking for a building or someplace in Garfield Heights where they can have their offices here. And I got to say, thank you to Mr. Dudley for actually bringing them to us. And this is what I meant. This is when we look at COVID-19, we look at this pandemic, this is a community effort. And I really think that, I got to commend you, Mr. Dudley. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed meeting them. They've become some new friends of ours. And I think that, we'll be in front of this pandemic going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you for the meeting we had.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, if not, we'll move on. Are there any directors that have a report this evening?
Mr. President, it's Mark
Mr.
Morrow.
You have the floor.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on Ordinance 2921 for the map, GIS mapping. That is a very important tool for the city and for the residents. It's unlimited is the information that we could get into that map and have at our fingertips. And it would be a huge time saver to be able to find all that information in one place, as opposed to having to go to several points of reference to get answers to questions. And I would just urge council to support that and push that through tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow. Are there any other directors that wish to speak tonight? Okay, if there are no other directors, we'll go to communications by citizens on the agenda. Barb, would you read the rules, please?
Comments shall be strictly limited to brief statements, not to exceed 5 minutes, with comments limited to legislation on the current evening's agenda. No citizen shall speak more than once.
Are there any citizens wishing to speak on tonight's agenda?
Ms. Kakisha Cole would like to speak.
Okay, Ms. Cole, state your name and address for the record, and we can go from there.
Hello, my name is Kakisha Cole. My address is 10911 Thornton Avenue.
Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to quickly speak to the resolution that Mr. Blake has put forth regarding the parking on Thornton Avenue. I've lived here for a little over 4 years, and in that period of time, every Friday and every Saturday, with the exception of when the pandemic closed the bars, I have been awakened in the middle of night routinely. There is consistently garbage in my yard, on my property. People are urinating. in my yard. It is, and it's not just my home, it's everyone on this street. People here are very hardworking. We just want to sleep at night. And I know that, council is going to be voting on this tonight. And I would just really say that, as council members, as you take this vote, to please think of if this was your home and if you were not able to sleep 2 nights out of the week and you were having to routinely call the police, you were picking up broken bottles, watching people urinate in your yard. And quite honestly, these people who are trashing our street are taunting us at this point. So I just wanted to bring that to the floor. I truly appreciate Mr. Blake for really taking action on this, because I've spoken on this before. I've expressed this concern before, and this is the first time that any sort of action has been even attempted. So thank you, Mr. Blake. And that's all I have to say.
Are you the lady that lives next to Bonkers?
Yes, I am.
I remember that. Okay, I understand what you're going through. Thank you, Ms. Cole. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak on tonight's agenda? Mr. Blake?
I'm not seeing anybody, but let me do one more scroll.
Go ahead.
I do not see anyone.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. I appreciate that. Okay, we will move on with the city's business as of now, and it'll be ordinances and resolutions. Starting off with Ordinance 27, 2021. And what did I just do with my screen? Oh, there it is. Barb, would you read a title?
If this is loud enough, I'm good, okay?
Just if you stay like that, we're perfect.
All right. Ordinance number 27, 2021. Sponsored by Mayor Matthew A. Burke. Co-sponsored by Councilman Nanadovich, Blake, Vaughn, and Donahue. An emergency ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor or his designee to purchase 15 Motorola APX 6000 portable radios from Motorola Solutions to be used by the Garfield Heights Police Department.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to consider by title. Barb, would you take, could I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Second that.
Thank you.
All right, no, Blake seconded.
Okay, we'll have Mike Dudley second it. Barb, would you take a roll, please?
Nanadovich?
It says yes. Says yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Negrini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Votes yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
And on suspension of the 3 reading rule, Barb, take a vote.
Nanadovich?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Negrini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
And I would like to have a vote on waiver of Rule 24. Barb, if you would, please.
Nanadovich?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Negrini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
And on its adoption, starting with myself.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Negrini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
That passes 6-0. There is an order of business that I want to go back to. I believe we forgot to excuse Ms. Davis from tonight's proceedings. Could I have a motion? Did we do that already, Barb?
A second. Let me see. Yes, sir. We excused Ms. Davis during the council session.
Yes.
Okay, because I know we did it during caucus. I just want to make sure I cover the bases. So, okay,
Did it
I
a second
apologize.
time.
Okay, I apologize. Okay, that passes 6-0. We'll move on to ordinance 2821. Barb, would you read the title, please?
Ordinance number 28, 2021, sponsored by Mayor Matthew A. Burke, co-sponsored by Councilman Nanadovich, Blake, Vaughn, and Donahue. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Kimball Recycling and Disposal, Incorporated, through the city of South Euclid for refuse collection and disposal and curbside recycling services.
Excuse me. I would like to make a motion to consider by title. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Donahue seconds it. Barb, would you take a vote on consider by title, starting with me?
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Dudley vote yes.
Okay.
Donahue,
Yes.
And waiver, that's 6-0 also. Waiver of the 24-hour rule, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn, yes.
Dudley,
Dudley, yes.
Donahue,
Yes.
And on the, that passes 6-0. And on the adoption, starting with myself.
excuse me, don't you have to suspend
Three reading rule.
the three
Yes,
reading?
my
rule?
apologies. Thank you for catching that, Barbara, please. I would like to suspend the 3 reading rule at this time. Would you take a vote, starting with myself?
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn, yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue,
Yes.
And on the adoption, starting with myself, Barbara.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
Ordinance 28, 2021 passes with 6 yes votes. Moving on, Ordinance 29, 21. Barb, would you read the title, please?
Number 29, 2021, sponsored by Mayor Matthew A. Burke, co-sponsored by Councilman Nanadovich, Vaughn, Donahue, Dudley, and Blake. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with OHM Advisors for the purpose of the creation and maintenance of a digital interactive zoning and ward map.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to consider by title. Barb, would you take a vote, starting with me?
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's the 6-0. Now, I would like to suspend the 3 reading rule. Barb, would you take a vote?
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's 6-0. And on the waiver of Rule 24, starting with myself,
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That is 6-0. And on its adoption, starting with myself, Barb.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
Ordinance 29, 2021 passes with 6 yes votes. We will now move on to Ordinance 30, 2021. Barb, would you read the title, please?
Ordinance number 30, 2021, sponsored by Mayor Matthew A. Burke, co-sponsored by Councilman Nanadovich, Blake, Vaughn, and Donahue. An emergency ordinance enacted by the City of Garfield Heights, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the municipality, that requests the cooperation of the County of Cuyahoga, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the county, in the matter of the hereinafter described improvement.
I would like to make a motion to consider by title. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Frank. Barb, take a vote, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
By title is 6-0. We'll move on to suspension of the 3 reading rule, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's a 6-0. And we will move on to waiver of Rule 24. Barb, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That passes 6-0. And we will move on to the adoption, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
Ordinance 30, 2021 passes with 6 yes votes. 1 not present. Write that down, 6-0.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have my window open and the papers are blowing around. Okay, we'll move on to Ordinance 31, 2021. Barb, would you read the title, please?
Ordinance number 31, 2021, sponsored by Mayor Matthew A. Burke, co-sponsored by Councilman Nanadovich, Blake, Vaughn, and Donahue. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement with OHM Advisors to provide engineering, bidding, and construction tasks for the CUY Antonucci Boulevard, PID 113268, Antonucci Boulevard Rehabilitation Project, pursuant to the agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A.
Barbara, I would like to make a motion to consider by title. Barb, or could I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason. Mr. Blake seconded it. Consider by title, starting with myself, Barb.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's a 6-0 on the title. Suspension of the 3 reading rule, starting with myself, Barbara.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
yes,
Vaughn,
Tom Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's 6-0 in favor of. We will now move on to Rule 24. Barb, starting with myself, please take a vote. Take a roll.
Sorry, Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's 6-0. And on its adoption, starting with myself, please.
Nanadovich,
I vote yes.
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 31, 2021 passes with 6 yes votes, 1 not present. We will now move on to resolutions. I thank you all for your patience. Resolution 13, 2021. Barb, would you please read the title?
Resolution number 13, 2021, sponsored by Mayor Matthew A. Burke, co-sponsored by Councilman Nanadovich, Dudley, Blake, Vaughn, and Donahue. An emergency resolution authorizing and directing the mayor or his designee at the Garfield Heights Fire Department to apply for a training and equipment grant provided by the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Division of Emergency Medical Services.
Thank you, Barb. I would like to make a motion to consider by title. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Donahue, thank you. Barb, I made the motion. Donahue, second. Take a vote, starting with myself.
Rich,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's 6-0 on its entitled consideration. On suspension of 3 readings, starting with myself, Barbara.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That passes. The 3 reading passes 6-0. On waiver of Rule 24, Barb, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
That's 6-0 on waiver of the 24-hour rule. On its adoption, starting with myself.
Nanadovich,
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
On the adoption, Resolution 13, 2021 passes with 6 yes votes and 1 not present. We will move on to our last resolution, Resolution number 14, 2021. Barb, would you read the title?
Resolution number 14, 2021, sponsored by Councilman Jason Blake, Councilman Thomas Vaughn, Chuck Donahue, and Councilman Michael Dudley Sr. A resolution designating Thornton Avenue between Turney Road and East 112th Street a no parking tow-away zone between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Blake.
I'd like to make a motion to amend this resolution to emergency status.
Okay, on the resolution, could I get a second on the motion?
I will
Second.
second that.
Mr. Dudley seconded it?
Yeah.
On the motion by Mr. Blake to make this an emergency ordinance, Barb, would you take a vote?
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Donahue,
Yes.
Nanadovich.
Nanadovich votes yes. Okay, there's now an emergency resolution. And
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Riley is.
Mr. Riley, you have the floor. Mr. Riley?
His sound is off. He's not muted though.
Yeah. I see him.
It's probably a bad connection or something.
Mr. Riley, are you present?
He's right there. Can't hear you, Tim.
Gonna call in.
Matt, can you hear me?
I can hear you, so everybody on the call.
I am not muted. Who's ever running the meeting hasn't muted, okay? You have to add the language to the emergency ordinance. You can't just say you're making an emergency. You got to put the language into the actual ordinance and resolution.
Okay.
Mr. Riley, when I have Barb read the consider by title, I'm going to ask her to make this an emergency, read in an emergency resolution designating Thornton. Could I do that on the floor?
Yes, but you need to amend the actual ordinance.
Okay, and that would be done on the main paper, the main ordinance. So that would also be on the title consideration, right?
Yes, you can change it on the title consideration.
Okay, that's what I'm saying I was going to do. Because I know you told me that once before. You got to change it on the paper and on the title when it's read. So
yes, in both
okay.
places.
So we're going to amend per Mr. Blake's, Councilman Blake's motion to change the title on the paper resolution to an emergency resolution designating Thornton Avenue between Turney Road and East 112th Street a no parking tow-away zone between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Am I correct in doing that?
Yes, but what else you need to do is you have to put in there, council declares this ordinance or this resolution to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare. Therefore, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon the adoption by council and approval by the mayor, otherwise after the earliest period allowed by law.
You write all that down, Barb.
I didn't get all that. It's section 1, is that what we're talking about?
It's the standard language that's in every ordinance or resolution that's a emergency, Barb. So it's in, like, for instance, it's in 27-2021. It's in section 3 right now. So all you have to do is read that. That's simple. So that has to be amended onto that ordinance. That resolution, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, which ordinance has this text in it so I can find it?
If you look at ordinance 27-2021,
All right, let me find it.
has the emergency language in it, which is the same in every ordinance resolution we pass. So if you read that in, that's the amendment that needs to go in there.
It's on tonight's agenda. It's part section 3.
There we go.
Do you have 2021 in front of you?
Okay, this in ordinance 27, and it's section 3.
Where it says council declares.
Needs to be added. Okay.
Yes. Okay, what you're going to do to get this illegal per our law department, in the title consideration, you're going to put an emergency resolution and then reading the title, and at the end, after 6 a.m., you will read section 3 of 27-2021 to complete the title consideration.
Oh, all right.
Okay?
No, you won't. That's not proper.
Okay, then what do we do?
I thought it goes after section 2.
All you do in the title is add emergency resolution, and then the rest of it is the same. Then you move to amend the body of the resolution and add a section 3 with the language I just gave to Barb.
Okay, I see what you're saying, Tim. I thought it had to be in the title. So we're going to add a section 3 in the whereas. Or section 3
Not in
in
the
the body.
whereas, it's actually section 3. Section 1 and section 2. Section 3 it would be.
Okay, do we have to read that on the floor, Tim?
You have to read what the amendment is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll play it by ear there, Barb. I'll guide you through this. Okay. You're going to read the title of this resolution, starting off with an emergency resolution. Then read the title. We'll go from there. We're making the amendment for Mr. Blake's motion. So Barb, would you please read the title?
Resolution number 14, 2021, sponsored by Councilman Jason Blake, Councilman Vaughn, Donahue, and Dudley. An emergency resolution designating Thornton Avenue between Turney Road and East 112th Street a no parking tow-away zone between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. according to Councilman Blake's amendment.
Right. And we are going to also amend section 3. We're going to add a section 3 after section 2, and it will read as follows from, let me get the paper here. You will read that from, I got it right here. You will read section 3 of Council Ordinance 27, 2021 to amend this after section 2. So you have to say, I'm amending the original ordinance and adding a section 3, and then add section 3.
We are amending the original ordinance and adding section 3, which is
section 3.
Council declares this ordinance to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare. Therefore, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon the adoption by council and approval by the mayor, otherwise from and after the earliest period allowed by law.
This is the resolution, not an ordinance, so that's corrected.
Pardon?
Said this is a resolution and not an ordinance. So when you add section 3, it should say council declares this resolution to be an emergency.
I stand corrected. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Tim. How would he live without you, my friend? Okay, we're changing the one word in section 3 from ordinance to resolution.
Got it.
Okay. Now, if we're all correct, I would like to make a motion that we consider by title the amended resolution as rewritten per our law department and Mr. Blake's motion. Would you take a vote, Barb, starting with Mr. Blake?
Start with Mr. Blake. All right. Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Taglerini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn, yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes. 6-0 on the title consideration as amended. Next, we will suspend the 3 reading rule, starting with Mr. Blake.
Blake?
Yes.
Taglerini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn, yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes. Yes.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes. On the suspension of the 3 reading rule, that passes 6-0. I don't believe we have to waive Rule 24 because there's no money being exchanged. So we will go to the adoption. And on the adoption, starting with Mr. Blake.
Well, before I vote, I want to thank Ms. Cole for speaking and giving everybody an idea of what's been going on. There is another issue involved I spoke about in caucus, that at times the parking on the street hinders safety vehicles from entering the back part of the fire station. We can't continue to allow that to happen. I did a ride along this past weekend and was able to see firsthand some of Ms. Cole's concerns as well as the other residents. I spoke to the majority of the residents on the street, and they've pretty much echoed similar concerns that Ms. Cole has. And I hope this, helps the problem. And with that, I vote yes.
Thank you. Ted Marini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
And Nodovich.
Before I vote, thank you, Mr. Vaughn, for your input in this and actually looking into the situation with the police department on your ride along. Thank you very much. And with that, I vote yes. The resolution number 14, 2021 passes as amended. And that, my council members and public, concludes ordinances and resolutions for the day. We will now move on to let's see, where were we? Comments by citizens. Not on tonight's agenda. Comments by citizens. Barb, would you read the rules, please?
Comments shall be restricted to any problem a citizen has which has previously been submitted to his or her councilperson or to the City Hall Department directly involved. If submission of a problem to a City Hall Department or a councilperson is made and there is a lack of service rendered in this regard, the problem may then be presented during comments from citizens at a future meeting. It is the intention of this rule that no request of a first nature is presented on the floor at this time. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. No citizen shall be heard more than once.
Thank you, Barb. Mr. Jason Blake, I'm referring to you for your first hand.
Miss Renee Bolton has her hand raised.
Ms. Bolton, would you please state your name and address?
My name is Renee Bolton, 5749 Turney Road in Garfield Heights.
You have the floor.
Okay, so I think I have more of a question, not in like a statement. So as I've been walking around Garfield Heights, two things that I have noticed that I'm wondering what's happening with them. On Woodward, there is a very serious sewer issue going on in the 1-300 block of Woodward. And it's to the point where it is backing, the sewer is backing up into people's laundry facilities in their homes. Their backyards are being like flooded if it rains really bad. They were saying some really bad things about the sewer, and all of them have said that the sewer issues are coming from the street. So I'm just wondering what's being done there to try and resolve some of these issues for residents on Woodward. That's my one question. My other question is, also as I've been walking around, I've seen a lot of sidewalks that are, the concrete is broken or uneven, and it's due to tree roots from trees that are on the tree lawn, and the roots are breaking up or pushing up the concrete blocks from the sidewalk. So it's all uneven in a lot of areas. And I'm wondering whose responsibility is it to fix those sidewalks and what can be done? I've seen several streets in Ward 6 for sure that need sidewalks repaired. And I don't know, I'm just thinking about it now that the weather is starting to break. And children will be out riding bikes and scooters and skateboards and all of that. And it's just injuries waiting to happen.
Understood.
So those are my questions. Thank you.
We do have the service director on board, Mr. Sycon. Could you address those issues, please?
Yes, first off, I heard nothing on Woodward. I've got my department has not received a complaint on Woodward, so I'm a little confused on what might be going on over there, but I would certainly investigate it. If we had some more substantial addresses, we could check with the county, see if something's going on with the sewers. But again, we haven't received anything, so I don't know if people were complaining to you and they didn't tell us, possibly. And then as far as the sidewalks, it's residents' responsibilities. They're allowed to remove the roots and then replace the sidewalks. I think Mark Morrow could also chime in on this, but it is residents' responsibility on the sidewalks.
So just one quick follow-up question, if I may.
Go ahead.
The city plants the trees on the tree lawn. The trees grow, the roots mess up the sidewalk, and then the resident has to fix the sidewalk that's messed up because of the trees that the city plants.
The way it's written right now, that's what we've always been told, that that's how it's, its responsibility does lie on the residents to maintain their sidewalks. Yes.
Okay.
Bolton, I went through that myself. I had to replace my sidewalks. I cut the tree roots. If the tree doesn't die, fine. If it dies, the service department will take it down. I just chopped the roots right in half.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bolton. Appreciate that. Jason?
Mr. Chairman, Clifford Kelly has his hand raised.
Mr. Kelly, you have the floor. State your name and address, please.
Clifford Kelly, 12312 Eastwood Boulevard.
The floor is yours, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. As I'm walking the ward of Ward 6 myself, residents on Wolf Avenue. I know this has come up in the past, but the residents on Wolf Avenue, the lower portion of Wolf Avenue, in the 136 block, are complaining about the streets. The streets have been tore up for, it seems like, eons of time. I know the streets on the upper level of the upper level of Garfield, some of the other streets there have been taken care of. But what are we doing for, or every time I talk to them, because this is not the first time, it's always, it's on the list, it's on the list, it's on the list. And one resident had a clever joke. I guess they said, it's on the list right behind the one who's dead. So in other words, it seems like they're never getting to that street. So what do I tell the residents on Wolf Avenue and some of the other streets that really need maintenance in the ward?
Mr. Mayor, I allude to you.
Yes, Mr. Kelly. First of all, also for Ms. Bolton, I do recall, I want to say about a year ago when we had the heavy rains on Woodward, and I did speak to Service Director, then Service Director, Tim McLaughlin. They sent out somebody to dredge the entire main line that goes down Woodward. I've had just only one call from a resident over there, and it seemed to take care of the problem. But he, unfortunately, every time that it rained, he had some water in his basement, as did all of us too. Mr. Kelly, I will tell you that multi-street phase 5 covers Wolf from East 135th to its east end. I have been fighting for the residents on that street probably since day one as a council person, and I'm happy to tell you that I just talked to Jim Sickles this morning about multi-street phase 5. It's a $5 million project, which the city of Garfield Heights is paying $250,000. So this is a concerted effort between not just Garfield Heights, but the county. And they are scheduled to start sometime June or July of this year to do that street. And I remember making a comment to Mr. Sickles that I can't wait for that one to get done so we can have a party on that street. So, but yeah, it was I'm kind of glad you brought it up because I did not report on it earlier. It was one of the things that just kind of, we kind of got dealt a blow today. So I'm just in a little shock. So I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you. So you could tell everybody there probably June, July. Thanks.
Mr. Sycon, you were waving?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate to Ms. Renee Bolton. I didn't realize you guys were speaking of this past problem because we did address quite a bit on Woodward where we did jet and vac out all the main lines. I haven't heard of any complaints since. It was my point. I don't know if this was something new or something pre-existing. So again, if we get some more solid addresses there, you can just call or email my office. We'll certainly reinvestigate if needed.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Kelly, we will allot you more time since Mark spoke. So go ahead and if you have any more questions.
Well, the second half of my comment was there are several residents who complain about vehicles parked on aprons and on the sidewalk. Several complaints about that, but it seems there are the houses that are like mainly on the side streets. It looks like it only affects them because obviously there are the shorter driveways. But if you have like 3, 4, 5 cars, I guess you got to put them somewhere. But the apron and the sidewalk, from my understanding, is the property of the city. So it affects people from walking or riding or walking their dogs, whatever they're doing. So that's an issue. And then I believe it's over on, I believe it's Shady Oaks where the houses were torn down. We got rid of, okay. I'm just put on the floor. But there are a couple of residents who are interested in a dog park put there as opposed to maybe one day selling the lot and putting more houses there. We have the space there. We have several dogs in the area. It would be nice if a dog park was considered. So just, and
Mr. Kelly,
that is all.
Okay.
That is
on
all.
That dog park idea, why don't you drop a formal letter to your council representative, and we'll go from there, and we can discuss that in Parks and Recreation meetings.
Okay.
But make it a formal letter rather than here, and that way we know we have a hard copy record of it.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Right, Frank.
Anything else?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Blake.
Ian Cox has his hand raised.
Ian, state your name and address, and the floor will be yours after you do that.
My name is Ian Cox. I'm at 10920 Elmwood, and I need to take my hand down.
Okay.
I just wanted to know because is Elmwood a part of that street project? Because Elmwood is terrible, and I know there's a neighbor of mine and myself, and I'm not sure if there's any other neighbors, have sent letters, and I don't know if they've been received, but I have not received a response. Because Elmwood is pretty bad streetwise.
You sent those letters to who, sir?
I sent them to the current department of the guy that was just talking with the hat on, the blue hat on. It starts with an
Service
S.
Department. The Service Department.
Yes.
Okay.
And I did that about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Mr. Sycon, I'm sure that you're hearing what he's saying. I'm sure you'll look into it.
Yeah, I did have some correspondence with Shayla on this, and Right now, we haven't even determined if there's a budget for repaving. Obviously, I know of the street and it is in tough shape. We've made great strides with a lot of streets. We just got more work to do, but right now we're just waiting to see if there's any kind of budget for the streets this year.
Thank you, Mr. Sycon.
Mr. President, if I may, multi-street reconstruction phase 5. Streets in the project include East 109th to Langton to Edge Park, Janice Turney to East 135th, South Parkway from East 131st to 139th, Garfield Drive from Turney to East 104th, Wolf from East 135th to the East End, East 88th Street from Grand Division to Birchwood, Park Heights from Turney to East 113th, Monica Lane from Graves to Rockside, and Darlington from East 128th to East 133rd. That's multi-street phase 5. Mr. Cox, I'll look into seeing if multi-street phase 6 includes Elmwood, but those, when we do these in phases, it's because they assess the streets and make sure that they're taking care of the worst ones first. And then we will add the other ones in the next phase. Currently, we're looking for funding for phase 6. So I will get with the city engineer and find out if he has Elmwood on that list. If it's really bad, I'll definitely, Mr. Sycon can go out and take a look at it. Mr. Morrow can go out and take a look at it. You know, we can definitely try to assess it and see if it's on the list or put it on the list.
Okay, and in the meantime, if I may, Mr. Chair, in the meantime, I have seen for the past couple of years where they have the guys come out and put gravel in the areas where there's problems on the road, and I see it happen every spring. And I just would like some in the front of my driveway because my driveway apron is getting far from the street, and it's causing some problems when we get in my driveway in the wintertime. And I don't know if I should reach out to you directly or if I should reach out to the mayor directly or to just the Mr. I can't pronounce his name and I don't want to mess it up. Sycon. Should I reach out to him directly to have that done?
Yes, please.
All right. That's all I got. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Just for the information of the people listening, before I go to the next one, Mr. Blake has somebody for me I know. There's 176 to 178 streets in the city, and there's 82 miles of streets. So, you know, when we pave maybe a couple hundred yards, it's costing us a lot to do all of them. Just multiply it by 82 miles. So, Mr. Blake, do I have somebody else?
Yes, Melissa Leonard.
Ms. Leonard, state your name and address for Barb, and the floor will be yours.
Hi, Melissa Leonard, 4893 East 84th Street. I just had 3 main points that I wanted to discuss. The first is the Kimball contract with South Euclid. I appreciate the fact that we're trying to save money on the trash, so thank you guys for that. My biggest concern, though, with that is there's been a lot of complaints and concerns overall in general in the city with trash. Litter, trash, you know, blowing everywhere. You know, pretty much a few people already on this call tonight have discussed issues with that. My concern is how much of that is happening from the actual trash pickup. I know I've witnessed multiple times when the trash pickup comes, you know, they throw the can into the bin and then trash flies everywhere all over the street and no one picks it up. So I'm just wondering if anyone has been reaching out to Kimball and finding out, you know, their responsibility to pick up the trash that has blown out of the cans while they're, you know, in the process of disposing of it. So just that's my first question. If anyone has
stop you right there for a second, I do have an answer for you. The service department under Mr. Sycon's direction has called Kimball. And today it was our trash day in Ward 3. I called the service department. They sent 3 trucks to pick up the streets that I gave them, and the streets are impeccably clean. So this is a project that Mr. Sycon and the city is going through, and it is working. We are calling Kimball. They are sending a truck back to pick it up, but we have to notify the service department. you have to make that call. And you would call the service department downtown at City Hall. And if it's early enough in the day, they will send another truck down to pick it up.
Okay, so I guess my concern is not them sending a truck to pick up the trash the second time around. My concern is the first time around.
Yes. If
someone can have a conversation with them, I don't know if it's a staffing issue or what. I mean, today, like the recycle truck didn't come till 6 o'clock tonight. So I don't know what was going on with that tonight. They're usually here pretty early. But that's, besides the point. My main point is when they are picking up the trash, that if they notice something fell out of the trash, that they would, kindly pick it up and put it in. And if not, then maybe we need to have more discussions with them and bring that to their attention, and not to have to send someone out here the second time to pick up the trash that they dropped the first time. So obviously the city, the citizens need to do their part. But if they could help picking up the trash that they dropped, that would be helpful. So my second point is to Renee's point, as far as the sidewalk issue. She makes a very valid point, and it's pretty clear to me that possibly the city could look at, revamping that policy. If there's a city tree lawn and there's a tree on the city tree lawn and it's corrupting the sidewalk that is also owned by the city, then why is it the citizens' responsibility to correct that? Just makes no logical sense to me, other than a financial burden on the city, which I understand as well. But I'm thinking it makes more sense to look at that ordinance and revamp it and figure out what we can do to make that make logical sense. If it's a city tree lawn, if it's a city tree that's causing damage, then it seems like the city should be responsible for repairing that damage to the sidewalk. And then last but not least, I brought up in the letter that I am requesting that the ordinances be, the sections in the charter be reviewed and amended as far as the boards and committees. So I haven't heard anyone speak about that yet. So I guess now is the time if anyone has comments about that, but I'm really hoping that we can look at amending that and at least reviewing that in legislative committee.
Mr. President, if I may.
Go ahead, Mr. Burke.
In regards to your letter, Ms. Leonard, I did get that earlier today. I really wish I would have had a little bit more time to review it before I had to address it. And I did fully intend on making a comment, but with the some of the things that came out earlier today in this meeting, it was a little shocking. I do and will take everything you've written in your letter under consideration. And as you know, because you went through a interview process with me the other day in regards to the Community Relations Committee, I am working on committees. I am working on getting people appointed. I am working on getting the website done, and these things will take time to do. So I ask your patience in that. I also would hope that in reviewing some of these commissions and boards, that we do not hold up processes and progress for the city in regards to some of the businesses out there that are trying to come to Garfield Heights and want to have their zoning issues or planning issues addressed. We don't have people that are on those issues or on those boards. We have to put it out to the public and get people to apply, which could be, as the committee for the public relations has taken about 2 months now to get people interviewed. I went through 14 interviews last week in regards to that. So I assume we'll have about 14, 15 interviews per committee position that is open. And as soon as we can get those listed all on our website, we will. In regards to the sidewalks, I've lived in this community my entire life, and the sidewalk issue has always been the responsibility of the resident. I've had to replace my sidewalks in the past. I certainly don't see why that should change. However, if it needs to be changed and council would like to pass an ordinance to put more money on the backs of the taxpayers to address the sidewalks, that can be done. But where are you going to get the money to replace every sidewalk in the city without having to go into fiscal emergency to do so? these things take a lot of money, and unfortunately, we just don't have it in the budget. So, and I'm not telling you that to blow smoke. I'm just telling you it's real numbers. And you're more than welcome to meet with me, meet with the finance director, and help us try to find where we can get the money to replace sidewalks. It's a very real issue. And like I said, this is something we have been doing since the very beginning of my time in Garfield Heights for about 30 years now. And I believe it's been that way since the charter was written.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. If I said that, I wasn't insinuating that we replace everyone's sidewalk. I was only insinuating that we replace a sidewalk where the city tree is causing damage. So if I said that wrong, I'm sorry, but that's not what I meant. I didn't mean to replace everyone's sidewalk.
And I appreciate you for clarifying that, but it comes at a cost to the residents of the city. And I mean, if that's what council wants to do, if that's how you want me to spend the city money and possibly put the city back into fiscal emergency, and then I'm sure that everybody will be on this call blaming the mayor for putting the city back in the fiscal emergency. I mean, these are real issues that we have to deal with. And the very first priority I have is to try to bring the businesses in here so that we can address the tax issues, so that we have money to be able to do those type of things. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, since 1956, when this city was founded, or whatever the charter was founded, it's always been the residents' responsibility to keep up their sidewalk. I mean, I've had to do it. My neighbor currently is doing it because of a tree. It just is something that has to happen, and it usually falls on to the residents. And that's just the way it's always been. Until it changes, there's nothing we can do. And again, where do we get the money? I would love for you to sit down with me and go over the budget and show me where we're going to get the money to do that. Exactly where we're going to get the money.
Thank you, Mayor.
So are we not going to look at amending anything? That's, I guess, back to the committees and board discussion.
Well, I would say, I don't know, is up to council, but I will tell you that usually that type of stuff is talked about in a committee meeting. It's not talked about on the council floor, where this meeting is really to address the legislation and stuff that we have, the business dealings of the city of Garfield Heights. If that should be something that could be talked about in a Ways and Means committee, or in a safety committee, or of that nature. And that's something that they would have to put together a committee meeting on. So I would start with your council member, and then have him call a meeting, or lean on whoever it is to call that meeting.
In answer to that last chat I saw, the city has stopped planting trees. Number one, due to the cost of the tree, and number two, to the damage. We don't plant trees anymore. And as far as the roots go, everybody that, like I said before, including myself, when the sidewalks needed to be replaced, you cut the roots. If the tree dies, the service department will take it down. That's our property. But other than that, this has been this way since, like Matt says, the mayor says, the charter, and it's written right into your, I believe it's written into the paperwork when you buy the home, that the sidewalks and the apron are your responsibility. And I believe you signed for that. So it could be looked at. I'm not saying you can't. Everything can be looked at. There's 17 committees in this city, and a lot of them we're already working on. A lot of the committees are up to snuff, and the other ones we'll address as the questions arise. I'm not putting you off, Ms. Leonard. I'm just giving you the facts that they come through that I've been dealing with for the past 47 years that I've been in the city. So, anything else, Ms. Leonard? You still have the floor.
Time.
Okay. Time, Tom? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Mr. Chairman, Mark Sycon was raising his hand.
Mr. Sycon, you have the floor as a director.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to Melissa and let her know that I did have extensive conversations with Kimball, their general manager, and actually he sent out one of their inspectors to have a conversation with me. And I did discuss that exact situation, that, I felt that some of the trash during the transfer from putting it in the hopper and bringing it into the truck was causing some of the litter issues that we are having. It's certainly not all of the litter issues we're having, but it's some. And they said that the drivers have mirrors and they're supposed to be picking the stuff up. And I made a special request that they bring in their supervisors to supervise them more, because I thought that there was an issue. They told me 100% they will get this rectified. And I know they already did speak with their drivers. So I just want to let her know.
Thank you, Mr. Sycon. And that's the exact answer I got from your assistants in the service department today, that you are handling this and you've been doing it for the past couple of weeks with Kimball. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Mr. Jason.
Mr. Chairman, Kevin McHenry.
Mr. McHenry, please state your name and address for the record, and the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Chairman. Kevin McHenry. We're at 12108 Henia Circle, that is in the city of Garfield Heights. We first of all just want to say it was an honor to be able to serve the community, the citizens of Garfield Heights. It was just really a tremendous honor, a tremendous effort on all. We want to also thank the city of Garfield Heights for their support. We do want to thank Mayor Burke for his input, his making it happen as far as the Civic Center and belief in the city's need to be safe. Also, on a side note, I want to just also thank Councilman Michael Dentley, because he did invite me to the meeting. He did invite us to put this ideal of the vaccination on the market for the citizens of Garfield as well. We want to thank everyone, all of our volunteers. We had a number of them. We also want to thank Nichelle for her support and for her distribution of PPE. The volunteers at Walgreens, the love of the community outreach, the Black Nurses Society of Cleveland, and the Garfield Heights Civic Center staff. Those guys were great. They made sure we had everything we needed. I mean, they were instrumental in making the operation as smooth as it was. And again, we want to give a big thanks and a big shout out to all the Garfield Heights residents that came out, were patient with the process, and were eager to do their part and their portion in taking responsibility of presenting a safer community. And we want to thank them for their courage in coming out and also experiencing the vaccination. And we just want to thank the neighborhood entirely for all their support. We are here, Garfield Heights Church of Christ. We're here to serve the Garfield Heights community and anybody else in any way we can. So once again, our conversation is not any kind of concern. It's a thank you to the city of Garfield Heights. And we saw a number of the councilmen. I believe all of you came out. We had some judges. We had some secretaries of the city. So we met a lot of people, and it was just a great occasion and a great affair. And we just want to say thank you again. My wife, myself, got First Lady here, Tamika, very instrumental in the medical facility, medical field as well, for her teaming together to make this thing possible. So we just want to say thank you all. God bless you. With that, Chairman, I'm done.
Mr. Burke? Mayor?
Yeah, Pastor McHenry, I want to say I'm honored that you even thought of partnering with us. And certainly, like I said before, it's our civic duty. I feel that we made history. I think we're probably the first city to help roll out the vaccine. I don't know of any other cities around us that have done it, but I'll tell you, and I said it earlier in my report, I have to say thank you to you and your staff. The countless hours you guys put in, how well you organized this whole event, along with the staff at Walgreens. We were just impressed with how well everything went, and I can't thank you enough. And I know that one of these days, like we talked about, we're going to be old and gray, and we're going to look back and say, we made history on March 20th, 2021, in administering and inoculating people and doing our duty as American citizens to do that. I thank you. And by the way, I know I spoke with Brianna that night there, and I hate to get off the subject, but you need to please tell her to call Lawrence Lane, because he can help her with her dream of becoming the culinary expert and owning her own business. So yeah, I don't want to air that out here at the council meeting. Thanks. But
Mr. Chairman, Councilman Tagliarini had a comment.
Councilman Taglerini, you have the floor,
Thank you.
because we know where you live.
Just want to thank Pastor McHenry and his staff and all his volunteers. Me and my wife have been trying for weeks to get vaccinated. We're both over 6 and 68 years old and had no response from anybody. This came along. You did a fantastic job. We're just amazed how smooth it went, and we sure do appreciate it. And I just wanted to address, thank you.
And myself also, Mr. McHenry and Tamika, this moved smoother than butter flying across a frying pan. Everything just, it sort of flowed. I mean, come in, the movement around the room and the volunteers you had, I applaud you, Mr. and Mrs. McHenry. Great job. So, Mr. Blake, do you have anybody else?
Yes, Miss Giselle Gaynor.
Mr. Dudley, right after Mr. Giselle Gaynor, we're gonna put you back on the floor, Mr. Dudley, after Giselle. She had her hand up a little bit before. Mr. Gaynor, state your name and address, and the floor is yours.
Hi, Giselle Gaynor, 4957 East 81st Street. I had a really quick question. I won't spend too much time here, but back on the sidewalk issue, my overall question is there a set budgetary meeting or something that shows the allocation of percentages for tax dollars that we pay, like what buckets they go into? And if there is, how often is that revisited? Because I'm sure, like any other budget, you move numbers around as need be, depending on, what the city's needs are.
I can address that issue for you. Ms. Bureau, the floor is yours. See how I address that?
I don't, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if Ms. Byro is still on the call. However, I can tell you that there's different funds, Ms. Gaynor, and, you have your general fund, and then you have like your street lighting fund and street repair. So for instance, street construction, maintenance and repair fund, there's $1,857,000 that goes to that fund. And the sad part about that is it does not take long for you to go through $1,857,000 when you're reconstructing streets. And then your other question, and this is something I found out when I became a council person, I said, we've got all this money in the rec fund that's, abundant. Why can't we use it to fix the streets? And I found out through David Yost, who at that time was the state of Ohio auditor, he said that's against the law to do that. You can only take money out of the general fund and move it into other funds, but you can't take money out of a rec fund and move it into your street fund. And if you'd like, again, we could sit down and talk about this. I have the budget. I literally carry that thing with me everywhere I go because it literally tells me what we have in the budget to do with. And I'll be honest with you, I wish the numbers were bigger than these. It would help us address a lot of stuff here in Garfield Heights. You have to keep in mind, it's not stuff that it's not like we don't want to do it. It's just, it takes money to do it. And unfortunately, when you look at some of these funds, I mean, there's things that, you pull your hair out at because what you think is important in one fund, you can't move it to another fund where it really is important, but it's something that we deal with every day here. And again, if you would like, I'd love to sit down and go over it with you. I can have Barb Byro, and certainly anytime you guys want to speak with Barb Byro, she is available. She makes herself available to go through and literally show you our budget and what goes on with it.
Sure. And I don't think, I appreciate that, Mayor Burke, but I don't think it's necessary for me to look at the budget. I have my own budget that is enough. But from an annual financial review perspective, I'm used to the corporate side of things. And I know from corporate leadership, we review our budgets annually, and then we choose how we allocate dollars throughout the year based on our fiscal plan. Is something similar followed through the city where you have that prioritization conversation in those meetings? And if so, is it annually or twice a year, or what does that cadence look like?
Mr. Vaughn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we do a finance budget hearing at least once a year, probably twice a year from what I remember.
We go over the entire budget October, early November, so that everything can become in line so that it can be approved of before the first of the year. We also do previous looks during the year. You know, where are we behind? Where are we ahead? That type of thing. If you want a breakdown of where your tax dollars are going, flip over the backside of your tax invoice. It will list how much the schools get, how much parks like Metro Parks, Metro Health System, the county government, all that gets from your tax dollars. And if I remember correctly, we're getting about 22 cents on every dollar that comes in on the tax budget from last year. So, but yeah, you can always look at your tax bill and that kind of breaks it down. I understand what you're asking, but there's where I would look first.
Okay, thank you. I'm so used to it rolling into my mortgage, so I don't even look.
Right.
But I will definitely take a look, and thank you.
No problem. Good question.
Thank you, Ms. Gaynor. Yep, that was a good question. Yes, very much so. Mr. Blake.
I'll do one more scroll, but I'm not seeing any more hands.
Okay, I do have a hand. Mr. Dudley.
All right.
You got the floor.
No
You want to
problem.
make this your comments by citizen, by council?
No, this is my, well, actually, Mr. Chairman, I can cover this and comment by council. I will save it for that.
Okay. Mr. Blake, do we have anything else?
I'm not seeing anybody.
Okay. So at this time, we will move on to, well, first of all, I want to thank everybody. Great meeting. Again, 2 in a row. I don't want to jinx us. Let's go for 3. But great meeting. Very calm, very well run. His residents were very, very helpful and coming with some good questions this time. Excellent questions. And I like the responses, especially by our service director and our mayor. I really appreciate that. So we will move into comments by council. I'm going so long at this. We will start off with Mr. Dudley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Council. I just want to first thank Minister McHenry and the First Lady, because since I've known them, they have really been involved in this city, and they became more involved. And I thank them for the journeys that we done last year when there was a lot of, times it was going on, some tough times, and a lot of things we were facing throughout the nation. And I know he attended several meetings with me, and he would take off work actually to come to these meetings as well. I appreciate what y'all doing on the culvert in the city, and well, I think that's a great idea that you brought her home to help the residents of the city of Garfield Heights. I would have loved to have attended the Saturday, but it was my First Lady's birthday, and that's where I was. But I did see the pictures, and I thank Ms. Michelle for being out there as well. So I think what you guys are doing, and it is appreciated, and I know everybody appreciate the effort that you put in, and also everybody who volunteered as well, and also the elected officials who attended and show their support, and the residents also. So just continue doing what you're doing, and believe me, everybody do notice, and we all appreciate your minister, you and the First Lady as well. And thank you for that. Also, I wanted to touch base, like the mayor had mentioned, about United, for the company that came in and going to be doing this testing. We're also going to be up at Holy Spirit as well. We did have an opportunity to meet with Father David, and also Dr. Akins, who runs the Smart Academy up there. So that's in a process and progress also. Because if you notice something they mentioned on the news, they say even if you take the test, you need to still take the little stick prick on that finger to make sure that you develop the antibodies that is going to fight that COVID testing. But I would say in all honesty, in Garfield Heights, it's not something that I'm doing or something just council are doing or something the mayor doing. It's something we're working on unitedly because it's important that your public health is one of the most important things to all of us, not just me, not just the mayor, but to all the people who serve you. So that is going to kick off soon, and I will get it out to the city and as well as my colleagues as well. And I know they definitely will be able to attend and come through and see how the process is working. And this is going to be a short one, but I like to say I wish everybody, I don't believe we're going to meet before Easter. I wish everybody a happy Easter and have a safe Easter and just enjoy your family, enjoy the meals. And on the 27th, get my days right. On Saturday, I don't have my calendar in front of me, I believe it's the 27th, we will be doing our annual dinner for St. Timothy Manor. And what we do, we provide them with a hot meal. And like Councilman Vaughn said, this is something that had been done for, I guess, 15 years or better. But I love my seniors and we love the community. You know, as I say, we, not I, we do love this community. And, you know, through the tough times and the good times, we try to be there. So I just want to thank all of y'all. Stay safe, enjoy your Easters, enjoy with your family most of all, and just take a step back at all we went through and things that happened last year and even going in this year with COVID. And now you're getting an opportunity to spend a little time, but do ventilate. I want to say honestly, ventilate if you can. And with that, I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dudley, thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Vaughn, we're going to bounce on to the end. You have the floor next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're throwing me off there. First of all, I would like to express my condolences to the Roman family. Sorry for your loss. The Vaccine Center, the McHenrys, what a great job this weekend. It ran like a fine oiled machine. Everybody was pleasant. It was enjoyable. I am very apprehensive at needles. I didn't even feel it. It was great. An excellent thing for our community. And I thank Mayor Burke and the McHenrys for getting involved in doing this. I am informing everybody that at the end of April, I will be bringing back my block watches and they will be starting again, weather permitting. We're going to be outside. So bring your lawn chairs. We'll sit, we'll have a talk, we'll chat. And maybe we can bring everybody up to speed. There are so many misconceptions out there on Facebook, social media. It's best we sit down, we talk, and we can express concerns on everything. A lot's happened in the past year, and we all need that human element. Everybody, as my good friend Mike Dudley said, Easter's coming up. And I looked up at the calendar, and he's right. We're looking at almost, 10 days away. So everybody have an enjoyable, safe, and a blessed Easter. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We will next go to Mr. Charles Donahue.
Okay. Which is going to be unusual. I do have something. I've got a lot written down, which is unusual for me. After I get done talking, I'll probably be ridiculed for it. But I have a few concerns. And I don't mind people talking at the end when residents get to communicate. But you're supposed to talk to your councilman first. A lot of times your councilman or councilwoman could take care of you. They can investigate this for you and get back to you. So you don't have to wait until the council meeting to actually voice what you want to voice. And a lot of people that are talking haven't talked to their council people. And that's part of the process. You talk to your council member, then you get in. If we can't do anything for you, or if we say, go ahead, talk on at the meeting, then you go ahead and talk at the meeting. Well, I mean, we will never stop you from talking at a meeting. It's just there is a process to this. This is supposed to be a legislative meeting. Next, and I'm gonna get ridiculed from the city for this. Why can't we open the civic center? We open the churches, the bars are open, we can go shopping, but we can't get in our civic center. Now the council people can. And I've gone in there, and it might be because everybody that's working in there, they don't wear their masks. And I believe that's against CDC law. You're still supposed to have your mask on while you're in there. You go to the building department, they're sitting there without their mask. Somebody comes up to the little piece of plexiglass, and boom, they don't have a mask on, but you have to wear your mask. I think the civic center needs to be opened back up to the people. Council packets. I've asked for council packets to be, so I could pick it up at the civic center. Last meeting, I was under the impression we got that. I went to the civic center to pick up my packet, and I'm told, well, you got to go back to the police station. I don't want to go to the police station anymore. I want to pick up my packet at the civic center. I've got time. There are other members of the council that work and maybe can't get to the civic center, and the police station's open 24 hours a day. I don't want to go over there and bother those people. These people are sitting in the civic center doing, I'm sorry, nothing, because we're not allowed in there. I want to go in there and get my packet there. I want to congratulate the McHenrys. I didn't go to get to the vaccination center. I didn't need to. I have other ways. I'm a VA. I'm a veteran. I go to VA. They took care of me there. But for everything that they did for all these other people, that was great. You people, you're fantastic. To get to organize this and get it all done, you were really fantastic. I applaud you for that. Okay, I think I've got enough that I'm going to get ridiculed. I'm going to get beat up by the city. I'm going to get beat up by my residents. But I really want this done. We need to get back in the civic center. The elderly need to get back in there and work. They've got their shots already. They wear masks. They can go in there. They can go do what they need to do. Now, something nice. I wish everybody a happy Easter. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
And when it's my turn to talk, Mr. Donahue, I have one point I would like to bring up with you, and I'll address it, but I'm going to go through the meeting because I'm going to speak last. So we will next go to Mr. Tagliarini.
Thank you. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Pastor Henry. Did a fantastic job, and maybe you saved some lives in the city. That's possible. And with that, I take my hat off, and I'm sure many others do. It was a great thing that you did. I believe there's going to be another wave this Saturday. Am I correct on that? Good. If that is true, it'd be great as we continue with that program. I'd like to send my condolences out to the Roman family. Bad loss. Also like to address Mrs. Cole's concerns tonight about Thornton Avenue. It's a long time coming that we did something with that situation. That has been a thorn on Thornhill for a long time. Time that we did something to help them people out. Nobody should have to live. With that, I'd like to wish everybody a great Easter, safe, eat hearty, and enjoy your families. With that, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Tagliarini. And we will move next to Councilman Jason Blake.
I'll be brief, Mr. Chairman. I'd also like to thank the McHenrys for their vaccination program. It was really efficient, and everything moved so effortlessly. And would just like to thank you for your commitment to the city of Garfield Heights. And as everybody said, it was a really great thing that you guys did. And like to offer my condolences to the Roman family as well. and I would like to wish everyone a happy Easter. And with that, Mr. Chairman, those are my comments.
Thank you very much. Okay, and I'll make it brief. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor for taking the initiative to open up our civic center to the McHenrys for the job they had done. And I think it was a great move to show that Garfield Heights is doing their part. It wasn't something council did. It wasn't something that the administrators did. It was something that the mayor did when he heard Mr. McHenry needed a place. And he heard that through Mr. Dudley. And I commend them both on that for acting on it so quick. Again, Mr. and Mrs. McHenry, butter in a frying pan, just smooth as grease. So, but I thank you for that again. And I want to thank Walgreens for all the employees they sent over there. They were very pleasant. They did a great job. And the only argument I got was from my wife. She had to walk more than 10 feet, but that's my problem. Miss Daniels, thank you very much for all the handouts you gave us, all the personal protective equipment. I've been handing it out to some of my residents that I see at the convenience store, and they're very, very appreciative. And I think we're moving ahead with this in the right direction. And I'm looking at the papers and stuff, and the numbers are getting lower and lower. And maybe pretty soon we can start meeting and having get-togethers again at City Hall, and the cookouts, and maybe even something in the summer at the band concert. But I again appreciate Miss Daniels' efforts too. She was in there. My sympathies to Sheila and her family, the Romans. Any death is a tragedy. And we've all been through it quite a few times, especially us older residents. And it's not something you can avoid. It's a reality. But you can't tell that to the person that lost a loved one, because to them, it's a tragedy. And you just have to work through it. And some people never do. And I see the results of that sometimes. Mr. Blake, I want to thank you so much for the help you've given me on these meetings, running the roster, admitting people to the room, keeping the hands raised. I thought I could do it myself. There was a guy, I don't know what the heck his name was, but he told me, he says, Mike, I don't think you're going to be able to do it by yourself. I think they call him the mayor or something like that. But with your help, we're moving through this here, and it's very, very smooth transition. And I like the way these meetings are going. I still can't wait to get back in council chambers, but I'm really pleased with the way you're handling this and taking care of us on council, Jason. I really appreciate that. And Chuck, I spoke with the mayor about this. There's people that want packets at the police station, people that want them delivered to the home, people that want them delivered at City Hall. What I did last week is I told the mayor, I took it upon myself and said, all packets will go to the police station. If somebody wants to have a packet delivered someplace else, I would appreciate if they would give the law department and the mayor a letter stating where they want their packet dropped. So at least we can keep track of it and know that this person is there. And that way, if it gets missed because you didn't make it for some reason, or I forget to go to the police station, there are weeks when council, I don't pick my packet up till 11 o'clock at night at the police station. I give them a call, they meet me in the door, they hand it to me. It takes me about half a minute. But I mean, I would request that just for clarification, so we don't go back and forth. Where's this one's going to be dropped? Just drop a note. Chuck Donahue, pick packet up City Hall. Thank you, and just submit it to the mayor or our clerk, and that should take care of that. And like I said, I want my at the police station. I don't know how everybody else feels. I like the convenience. I can go at 1 o'clock in the morning and get it if I forget. On another note, I want to thank all the residents again for actually talking at the meetings, sitting here making civil discussions, no beating on the table, yelling or screaming. I think we accomplish more with honey than we do with vinegar. And again, I thank all the directors that are here. Mark, thank you for your input. Paul, I see you sitting there. You're doing a great job, I think, in the rec center. And with that, I want to wish everybody a happy Easter. And don't forget tomorrow night for Mr. Tom Vaughn's request and motion, there will be a meeting at 6:30. It'll be a Zoom meeting, and it will be discussing the information that was brought to light tonight through Mr. Dudley. And with that, I would like to entertain a motion from somebody to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I got a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Taglerini. On the motion to adjourn tonight's council meeting, Barb, would you take a roll call? Mr. Dudley and Mr. Taglerini seconded it.
No, Mr. Donahue.
Oh, Taglerini
Mr. Donahue, yes. Mr. Donahue made the motion and Mr. Taglerini seconded it. Go ahead, Barb. Starting with Mr. Donahue.
Right. Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Nanadovich,
Yes?
Blake,
Yes.
Taglerini,
Yes.
Vaughn,
You're muted, Tom. You're muted, Tom.
I heard you, Chuck.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
right. Dudley,
Yes.
At 9:06 on 3/22/2021, the council meeting for Garfield Heights stands adjourned. Thanks, Chuck.
Good night,
Hi,
all.
Chuck.
Good night, everybody.
You're getting
Good
old,
night,
Tom. I
everybody.
figured your hearing's going.
Got it.
Good night.
Oh, God love us. Oh, you're not allowed to laugh,
Good night,
Wendell.
all. Good night.
Okay, I'm ending this meeting right now.